Hi, welcome to your hip class. Today you're going to need a soft ball and a roller. So I'm going to use a therapy ball, but you could also use a tennis ball, especially if your therapy balls work quite hard, yeah? Because we're going to work a little bit on the feet as well. So why are we going to work on the feet? Well, basically, where you stand on your feet determines to some degree what muscles you contract in your hips, yeah? And so if the weight on your feet is off habitually, you're going to be over-engaged in certain muscles through your hips. So for example, if you stand up like I am a little bit now, but maybe more exaggerated with the toes out, you'll be used to holding the weight of your upper body with the external rotator muscles, yeah, deep to your glutes. And that can put a lot of strain on them over time. These are they're the deep layer of muscles, and they are one of the muscle groups that create stability through the body. But if they're overused in this external rotation of the leg with the toes pointing out, they start to fire up, and this can aggravate the SIJ over time and create things like piriformis syndrome, yeah, which is similar to sciatic with shooting pain down the legs, yeah. Again, you may have the opposite thing going on, be slightly knock-kneed with the heels out, where you're overusing the inner seam of the legs, and that can get very tight as well. And these muscles, you may be more prone to things like gluteomnesia, which is your glute max, and those same muscles that I talked about a moment ago being too lax, yeah. And so it's all about getting the balance, yeah. So the feet really do contribute to what we call a weight-bearing pelvis. What muscles are used in the pelvis to support the sacral area, to support your core, and to support also the waves of the spine as they stack on the pelvis and move up to the head, yeah? Okay, so we're going to start off with a little bit of a body scan. So just take your feet hip width, close your eyes, and sense and feel into your body. So starting here, taking your attention down through your body into your footprint. And noticing where your weight is from right to left on your feet. And I'd like you to try and just relax all the muscles of your legs now and your hips. And let gravity hold you. And allow the weight of your body to just sink down through your feet into the earth. You're not trying to pull your kneecaps up into your quads or do any of that. Just allow everything melt down. And as you release the muscles for you, it could be quads or hamstrings or whatever, through the legs and the hips, you will be testing your autopilot efficiency. So when there's a lot of stress and tension through the nervous system, our outer muscles try and hold us up against the force of gravity. These quads and our muscle movers, yeah. But really, we want our deep stabilizing muscle layer to do this work as it's its job. And so as we release the muscle movers, we're testing how our deeper layers are in relation to our stress levels as they try and hold our body weight up against the force of gravity. And then from here, just notice if your weight is on your heels. If you're on your heels, you may find you're locking out your knees more. Or maybe you're a toe tipper and you're clenching your toes and you're tipped forward. So just maybe rock back to the heels, forward to the foot, the front of the foot, back to the heels, forward, and then find your center from here. Imagine a triangle of the feet, big toe man, little toe man, center heel. And just allow your weight to distribute evenly on these 3 points of both feet. Notice how this impacts through your legs and into your hips. And from here, you can blink your eyes open, and we'll start with the foot map. So starting here on the right foot, you can take the ball of the sole of the foot into the center of the foot, and we'll just start with a little bit of flushing, so pressing down and easing off. Pressing down and easing off. So do this 5 times on each point. And here working with the P1 in the center foot, through the energy lines connecting into your diaphragm, the largest dome in the body, which also helps to regulate all the other domes and arches through the rest of your spiral bioarchitecture. Good. And then from here, we're going to move to P5. So just tip a little bit forward and then press into the front of the heel and then back. And tipping forward and back. Good. So this relates to the kidneys, the lower back, the intestines, the bladder also. And then from here we'll go to a glide. So you can just press weight onto the forefoot and then just start to roll the ball from the right to the left across the skin and the superficial fascia beneath, giving it as much weight as you feel you want to today. Going for smooth movements. And then from glide to a shear, just put the weight in the center here at the front of the heel, your P5. Tip forward, put on weight, and then just smaller movements, moving forward and back, easing into the deeper fascia as you give a little bit more weight. And the ball isn't moving on the skin now, but you are still nudging and moving in any way you wish to just feel in to that release through the tissue. Okay, great. And then from here, we will go to the 2A, so big toe mound, and we'll just flush it out forward and back. So again, working through the meridians, this connects with your head. And just sensing a feeling into your body as you move. And then second toe, connecting with the neck. Flushing it out. So as you press in, creating that compression relative to the sensations that you want to feel in your nervous system, definitely not going into overwhelm, especially if there's been a lot of tension, just, less can be more, your stress levels yourself and what you're working with. And then as you back off, you just allow the blood flow through, allow fluid to flow through the fascia as well, rehydrating the area. Good. And third toe now, connecting energetically with the jaws. Just allowing your jaws to release. Good, and then fourth toe, forward and back. Oh, I was getting so relaxed there, I didn't tell you what it connects to. So this connecting with your eyes, so allow your gaze to soften as if through the back of the head. Carol, you're teaching a class. This is not just for you. Okay, and then the ears, so which is your pinky toe, connecting with your ears and your vestibular system, which also connects to your sense of proprioception, your felt sense of where your body is in space. Nice, okay. And here we'll do a glide. So if you dig into your heel, ball in the center of the forefoot, and then just move from side to side. So this will create a little bit of cross friction as well, but just gliding the ball. Good. Very nice. And then from here, coming to the inner arch of your foot and starting to flush it out. Forward and back. And this connects here with your solar plexus, your metabolism, your fire energy. And then just a little bit forward now into 3B, connecting with your neck and your upper thoracic. And then over to the outer arch, energetically connecting with your arms and your shoulders, and also your liver. Nice, okay, great. And then you can take your, well, let's give it a little rinse. So let's, put weight on your opposite foot, because you want to keep the weight nice and even. Light, so you're just really rolling the superficial fascia just beneath the skin to get a sense of, you want to move the fluids, the lymphatic fluid through the capillaries here, which is good for circulation, boosting your immune. Nice. Good. And then come down. Yes. Okay, over to the other side. So, well, before we do, let's just check in. Right to left. Do you feel a little bit more earthed? So can you let go the muscles of your right leg now? Can you feel a direct connection of your weight to the earth and an energetic rebound, a sense of resiliency or bounce back up into your right leg? Less tension, more flow, yeah? Good. Okay, so here over to the left side. So starting here on your P5 and flushing it out. Relating into the diaphragm area energetically. Sensing a feeling into your body. And then moving forward to P5, lower back, kidneys, lower digestion, intestines. And then from here, putting weight on your forefoot, and let's just start with the glide from left to right. And just rolling the ball off the skin. Nice. And then from here we'll go from a glide to a shear. So just pressing into the center, putting weight, and then just smaller movements. Nice. Okay. So from here, you can take the ball to the ball of the sole of the foot and start to flush it out again, forward and back. Two-way point connecting with the head, energetically through the meridians. But sure, also posture, bad shoes, all the things creating tension in through the plantar fascia here. Okay, second toe, connecting with the neck. Nice, third toe, pressing down, connecting energetically with your jaws. Again, just being mindful of the pressure you put on. If you have a lot of stress and tension going on right now, just less is more. You're really just trying to get the fluid moving through your fascia and release any stuck stress. Good, and then fourth toe, forward and back. And here working with the eyes, so keeping the gaze soft. If you find you're in the headlights, if you're really kind of open wide, it can be a sign of stress response. So just softening the gaze. If you wish, you can even just look around the room lazily and notice if your eyes are jerky and just keeping your eye movement smooth. And then working now with your pinky, putting weight on your pinky toe, forward and back. Working here with the ears and vestibular system and your sense of proprioception energetically as you release the plantar fascia of your foot. Good, and then from here come to your inner arch and pressing down, and again just deciding your pressure, especially if you've collapsed arches. You don't want to over-release the foot, create more instability through the foot. Really just putting enough pressure for you to feel the fluids moving through, waking up the life force and the prana in the area. Energetically connecting here to the solar plexus and your pancreas and metabolism. And then just rolling the ball forward just a small bit, still just below the ball of the sole of the foot. I'm pressing here. Another tight spot for some, and this connects here with our second neck point and also the upper thoracic. And then over to the outer arch, the space between your little toe and your outer heel, and pressing here. And just allowing your arms dangle down, energetically connecting through the arms and the shoulders. Also the liver and upper back. This outer foot point also connects with the lateral myofascial chain, so anything on the starting with the outer foot, outer calves, outer thighs, and outer hip. So there's also, and for sure, waist and side ribs. So there's just starting to wake up this lateral chain as well. Okay, great. So from here, let's give it a rinse. So weight heavy on your opposite foot. And just rinse it out randomly. So just feeling in, you don't have to, you can do circles, you can do forward and back, you can do side to side. And Feeling the whole of the foot in. A little bit harder up at the heel, but you'll manage. This is where the soft ball comes in better. The softer the ball, the easier it is to rinse. Good, and just getting the lymphatic fluid moving through your capillaries. Sorry guys. Capillaries, promoting good circulation and immune strength. Good. Okay, so taking the feet up wet and sensing and feeling down out into your feet and your footprint and where your feet meet the ground. And notice how that translates up through your legs into your core. Great. Okay, so you can open your eyes and then lie on your back. And we're actually going to do another quick body scan just to before we start working on the hips. So lying on your back, and you can have your foam roller close to you. We're going to use it in just a moment. So lie comfortably. And check in with your body. Notice if your toes are pointing to the corners of the room. Notice if the weight on your calves feel even. Notice if the weight on the back of the thighs feel even. And also if they're weighted down to the ground or if they feel raised. Notice if the weight is on the center at your tailbone and sacrum, and if that feels heavy there. Or if your weight feels even on your butt cheeks. Notice if the arch through the lower back, if it feels too small or too large. If it feels even below and above the navel. Notice if the weight is on the base of your ribs. Or if the base ribs are flared off the ground. Notice if the weight is heavy on your shoulders, creating less space in the back of the neck for your cervical arch. Notice if your arms dangle evenly. Notice if the weight is on your head is behind the bridge of your nose. And then notice your right side of your body and your left side of your body. And how your autopilot is doing in relation to your center. Great. And you can blink your eyes open. Great, so we're going to start with the thighs, hamstrings. So if you take your roller to just the top of the hamstring or the back of your thigh meets your pelvis, and we're going to start with the shear. So from here, just roll your legs out, roll your legs in. Yeah. So I'm going to work with both legs together now. But for sure, in order to balance the hips and the pelvis, it's really important that your hamstrings are even, have the same tonicity. So if you have one much tighter than the other, are more hypertonic as a result, then it's going to pull the pelvis down into a tilt on that side. Yeah? If you generally tight hamstrings, you'll pull your pelvis, you'll tuck your pelvis under as a result, because your hamstrings will just pretty much pull the pelvis under, into a tuck. So if you do have, I'm going to work with both legs together today, but if you notice that one hamstring is a lot tighter, you may want to spend more time. So you can just roll one side, you just stop one leg and roll the other side. You could even pause the video for a little bit, or just in your home practice, just know what your tight side is and that you need to spend more time at it in order to get your autopilot to create the same tonicity through both hamstrings evenly so your pelvis can balance. And for some people with very tight hamstrings, you'll stay longer. We're going to move forward now, but you might want to spend longer doing this, even up to 10 minutes. Okay, then taking your roller down out to the belly of the muscle, and we'll just do the same gliding actions again. And again, if you wish to give one leg a little bit more, just to release, stop tension, creating a sense of spaciousness through the leg as you release any unnecessary tension and stress. Helping also to release adhesions between the muscles, so the muscles can glide freely over each other. Okay, very good. So from here, we're going to roll up to a seat and take out your roller, and we'll do some side lying. So you can roll to your outer right hip and take your roller out to a V shape or to a diagonal, and take your left leg over. So we're going to do two positions here. So the first one will be up in your short adductors, so the top of your inner thigh. And we just start with the glide, moving from your core. So forward and back, just a few inches. And then you can extend your legs straight. And then from here we'll do shear. So you can see here as I shear, I'm putting weight of my inner thigh into my roller, and I can either move forward and back, or I can lift the heel up and drop it down. Yeah, so you're getting into those inner groins here, your pectineus muscle and the fascia, surrounding fascia, your adductor brevis. These are not just inner thigh muscles, but they also flex the hip. And for sure, these muscles can get stuck with as part of the trauma response in the body. For some people, not always, but can be. So just lifting the hip up the heel up to create your shear. If you wish, you could bend the knee as well into a frog pose. And I like to come up on my elbow for this, just to put more weight on the inner thigh and just come back into a glide. So I'm now two elbows. My elbows are underneath my shoulder. That right hip is Outer hip is now lifted off the ground. Good, and then come back onto your right hip, and then roll the roller down onto the center of your inner thigh. So just come here into the long adductors, yeah, your adductor magnus and longus, yeah. So here, rolling forward and back, working with a glide again. And then extend your leg out straight, and we'll go back to a shear. So lift the heel up and down and down. And here you'll find you're working where the inner compartment of the thigh meets your quadriceps. So we're also working with the vastus medialis, your innermost quadricep. Good. Very nice. And then come back to center, and let's take the right side and roll onto your outer left hip. Take your leg to a V, and take your roller up into your groin, and just starting with a glide forward and back, releasing those short adductors and the surrounding fascia. And then extend the right leg straight. And again, you can continue to roll forward and back, or you can create your shear, bringing your right heel up and down and up and down. So doing this a few times, moving nice and slow. So again, as we start to reset our autopilot, slow movements are very important, yeah? So when we're in our autopilot, we're moving unconsciously. So we're just making the movement like we're washing the dishes, and we're thinking about other things, or we're back up in our heads. We're not sensing and feeling into the sensations of our inner thigh. So as we move out of the autopilot, we shift to a different part of the brain as we start to sense and feel into our tissues. Great. And then from here, you can prop up onto your elbow and frog your leg. So you're on both elbows now, and then just come back into a little glide. And again, nice and slow. Keeping things really soft, sensing and feeling, not going into unconscious movements. And anytime you feel you do that you're just kind of backwashing the dishes, just slow down your movements. When you slow your movements, you'll be able to sense and feel into your movements and start to balance into your sensations, and balance your autopilot as a result. Great. And then from here, roll back to your side and then onto your back. And then popping up, and we'll do the front of your thighs. So taking your roller, and we'll start off at the belly of the muscle in the center of the thigh, and we'll start with the glide. So again, sphinxing your arms, elbows under shoulders, rolling forward and back. Do keep a little tug of the pelvis, a small one, and pin the navel so that you're moving from your core. You're not necessarily digging your elbows. You're keeping your elbows light on the ground, and having a sense that with every movement, every time you release the outer layers of your fascia, that you're also connecting deeper with your core, but in a light, buoyant, resilient way. Yeah, that you're not like sucking your belly in and creating tension through your core, but that you're feeling a deep bounce and resiliency through your core. Your core is activated, you feel awake and alive, and you're moving from that place. Okay, so you can increase your glide now, going from the top of the hip all the way down to the knee, so you're creating a longer sweep. And here we're working in the same direction as the muscle fiber. So here we're working with a stripping action, yeah. So we have 3 quadriceps running the length of the thighs longitudinally. So we're rolling in the same direction as the muscle fibers of our 3 quadriceps. Good. And then from here, you can, we'll do it in a few places. So you can come up a little bit closer to the top of your thighs, and we'll do a shear. So a little roll over to the right and the left. So you're just tipping. You can pull your heels over to the right and heels over to the left, moving your hips with your legs. And here you'll find that in this shear, you're going to create a little bit of cross friction as well. And this will help release the adhesions between the muscles, yeah? So very often our muscles can become adhered, yeah? So and then they stop to work optimally, they can stop to function properly. Okay, so now just roll to the center, the belly of your muscle, center of your quads, and again, just tip from side to side. And you may feel an imbalance from right to left, so that's really good information for you. You could even, in your own time, spend more time on one leg, just have one leg on the ground, and be doing this with one leg on the ground, or just leaning into one side that little bit more. Good, and then rolling now a little bit lower, so into the suprapatellar pouch, or just above it. So just above the knees, at the base of your quads. Again, pull the belly away from the ground. Keep your core connected as you roll. So as those muscles release, you have your deeper stabilizing muscles of your core start to take over. And that takeover will be an energetic one as well, through your nervous system, as well as a muscular reset. You start to connect deeper into your neural core. Good, very nice. And then from here, you can just prop back up and come to a seat. Okay, so from here we're going to go straight into the sacral region. Before we do, I'll just say you may have noticed as you were doing the rolling some tension through the IT. For sure, the IT is a band is an aponeurotic structure. That means it is a tendon-like structure. It's not a muscle, but it is the tendon-like structure of your TFL muscle, your outer hip muscle. So we're not going to roll the TFL today because we are going to work we're not going to roll. And from here, we're going to move on to our backs. And you can take the foam roller underneath your sacral area. So lie down first, bridge up, and take your roller underneath your sacrum. Okay, let's start by just taking the knees in the air, and we'll explore the sacral area, and we'll see how our hips are doing in relation to our SIJ now. So if you would like to take your two hands on either side of your hips and just take your index fingers underneath your side glutes a little bit. And this is going to stop your range of motion. You might, those of you who love deep range of motion might be like, oh no, I don't need this. But actually, we get to the side glutes in a little bit. But here we don't want a big range because we just want to explore the lateral edges of the sacrum. Okay, so with the hands tucked under the outer hip, let's just start tipping to the right and the left, creating a small shear and putting weight into the sacrum as feels right for you, depending on your levels of sensation. And let's turn those into circles so you can bring that clockwise. And anti-clockwise. And then from here, come to center. So from here now, tip over to the right side a little bit, like not all the way over. You don't want your knees tipped over way to the side. So you still have your hand underneath the side glute there. And just tip over a little bit. So your knees are about on a diagonal to your hips now. And you're going to be saying hello to your right SIJ. Yeah, so you'll have your weight right on the lateral edge of your sacrum. And then from here, just starting to do little movements again, like little circles. And try the other way. Good. And then let's go over to the other side and explore your left SIJ and how that's doing in relation to the surrounding muscles. Great. So from here, come into center and we'll take knee press. So draw your right knee into your chest and allow your left foot drop down. So your left foot may hover in the ground or maybe on the ground. It doesn't matter. But you want to feel now as you draw your knee in that you want to feel that you're doing so from your core. So inhale with me. And as you exhale, you can pull the navel back. And tuck your pelvis under. And as you do that, your knee will start to draw closer into your chest. So you want to feel light on your left foot. It's not about trying to get the left foot heavier on the ground or even to the ground. It's more important you keep the tuck of the pelvis. So we'll hold here. You can take a couple more of those breaths or just hold. Even weighting the base of your ribs down as you hollow body the whole of your core. Inhale again and exhale. So knitting your front ribs in, allowing your left foot to glide off if it wishes. So allowing you to fully connect with your core. Good. And then pull the left knee in. And then knit your ribs in, hollow body, tucking the pelvis, and then allow your right foot to drop. So again, if it touches the ground, great, but it doesn't have to. And then allowing the left knee hug in as a result of you pulling into your core. So using the breath to connect. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And then come back, take both knees up over the hips, and then just start to march it out. Your hands can be on your roller, and just starting to draw your knees forward and back, staying connected in your core as you move. Good. So then from here, take your right knee into your chest, pull it in, and again knit your ribs. Feel your base ribs connect down into the earth. Inhale your left leg high, and then you can flex into your left heel and just internally and externally rotate your left leg, moving nice and slow. And then drawing your left knee down, leg down now for draw bridge. So again, not trying to get your left foot to the ground, making sure you keep the tuck of the pelvis. And just feel your hip flexors gently begin to release. Keep your left leg straight and active, reaching your toes forward. Then inhale the left leg back up and hug the left knee into your chest with your right. Good. Connecting into your core. Inhale the right leg up, flex into the right heel. And again, slow movements internally, externally rotating your right leg. So if you are symptomatic here in your SIJ, you'll start to feel a little bit of release through here if you are inflamed at the moment through this area, or just feeling that you need more space. Yeah. And then point the toes, hug the left knee in, and then drop the right leg down, tuck the pelvis, pull into the core. Good, and then inhale the leg back up, and then exhale, just bending both knees. So from here, take a figure of 4, draw your outer right foot to the left thigh. So use your hands to guide your foot in if you need. And then you can take your right hand to the inside of your right knee and hold the back of your left thigh with your left hand. So you're still a little bit tucked on your roller and pulling into your core. You can start here. Let's just rock from side to side a little bit, creating a small shear. And then come to center and draw your right knee back and pull your left knee forward. From here, inhale, you can tilt the pelvis, so lift the lower back away from the ground. And then exhale, tuck your pelvis under. Inhale, lift and tilt. Exhale, tuck it under. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Great, let's try the other side. So again, making sure that your roller is evenly at the back of your sacrum. Pull your right knee in, draw your left knee back, and then just rock from side to side. A little gliding action, feeling into your sacrum gently. being as gentle as you need. Good, and then from here, inhale, come to center, and then inhale, tilt the pelvis, lift the lower back, and exhale, pull into the core and tuck the pelvis under. Shh. Pressing the left knee away, inhale, tilt and arch the lower back, and exhale, tucking under. Shh. Inhale, lift the lower back. So you're just lifting it so your pelvis comes into like it's neutral. And then exhale, pelvis into a tuck. Inhale, pelvis to neutral. Exhale, pelvis to a tuck. Inhale. And exhale. Nice, guys. Okay, so from here, you can roll up, and then you can take your hands under your shoulders, and from here, tip over onto your outer right hip, but just start to side lie first. So you're not directly on the hip, you're just in this side lying or half tip. And here you're at the edge of your glute medius. And let's just start with the glide action here. So this is where like the back of your bum meets the side of your hip. Yeah? So you're on the glute medius muscle, and this can be a very, very sensitive area for a lot of people. So what do we do when something is sensitive? We slow down our movements, yeah? So no pain, no gain is just autopilot inefficiency thinking, yeah, like your hips are the dishes, which they are not. So you just want to come out of that autopilot mode of being and come back into your the part of your brain, your insular cortex. It's not even your somatic sensory center, because that's your proprioception where your body is in space. So we're going deeper. So we're not just even sensing where our body is, so that's part of it, our proprioception, but we're also feeling how our body feels in relation, or how we feel in relation to our body sensation. So we're also, as we interocept, we're including our emotional responses. We're not just propriocepting, sensing our body in space, but we're including how we feel about what we feel. Hopefully that's not too much as you roll your glute medius. Okay, now from here, pop down onto your right elbow, and you can just keep your knees a little bit bent and roll onto the outer right hip. Take your left hand to your waist, pull into your core, and then moving from your core. And here you're working again, still with the glute medius, but also with your glute minimus, which is even deeper again to your glute medius, and it is one of your abductors or your internal hip rotators, but it's also a deeper stabilizing muscle of your hip. And then if we'll straighten our bottom leg out. So from here, if you wish, you can put your other hand down, and then we're just going to roll forward and back, creating our shear. And then as we roll forward, we're going to be tipping forward onto the TFL muscle. So we'll hold there in a moment, but for now, tip forward and back. So as we are shearing, we're also flushing, because we're giving it a break as we tip to the back of the glute medius and then forward to the TFL. Yeah, so flushing as we shear. And then holding forward on your TFL now, yeah. And we'll just start here again. Let's you can come to a glide, so move forward and back again. Keep it nice and slow. Or you could just hold in the static compression on your TFL. So your TFL is the muscle connected with your IT band. Yeah, your IT band is a tendon-like structure that connected to your TFL muscle directly. And so here, this is where your hips and your thighs connect into each other. Good. So from here, we can start to create an indirect shear as well. So from here, we can point the toes skyward and then little toe back down to the ground. Toes point skyward, little toe down. So doing this a few more times. Again, moving slow, sensing and feeling. Good. Very nice. And then from here, lie down now on your right shoulder and take your right arm underneath your right ear. Bend your right elbow up. Take hold of your left arm and hold your left elbow in your right hand. You can bend your right knee and straighten out your top leg. Good. And then you're going to gently pull your arm away from your shoulder, lengthen through the left side of your body. Inhale. And then exhale, tuck under, pull into your core. Inhale. Exhale, tuck. Inhale. Exhale, tuck. Inhale. Exhale, tuck. Inhale. Exhale, tuck. Okay, nice guys. So gently easing off onto your back. Very nice. And then coming back up onto your elbows. Actually, onto your hands. Okay, great. So from here, start to tip over onto where the back of your bum meets the side of your hip, and your knees can just fall out to a diagonal of your hip. Great. And then we'll just start here with the gliding action, forward and back. And here we're working directly with our glute medius. And again, slowing down your movements. We're definitely working with our mind-body connection. But it's not just, oh yeah, release the muscle quick. Because for sure then your mind is back in its autopilot. So how do you feel as you move is part of our journey here today. Yeah, so as you release the tissue, moving slowly, how do you feel about as you connect down into the sensations of your body? And so from here you can prop down onto your left elbow, and you can keep your knees bent actually, and just come onto the full side glute, allowing your knees tip down that little bit more. Take your right hand to your hip and continue your glide. So your roller and your body is moving in your gliding actions, and you're moving from your core. Very nice. So from here, you can extend your legs straight, and we're just going to work here with the shear. So rolling forward and back, and then feeling into those side glutes as you tip forward and back. So as you tip forward, you connect down with that TFL muscle again, the muscle that connects down through your IT band on your outer thigh. And as you tip back, you're moving through the glute minimus towards that outer edge of your glute medius once again. And moving intuitively. Sensing and feeling. Good, and then for an indirect shear, you can just bend your top leg up and take your hand to your waist again, and then point your left toe skyward and down. Good, and keeping this movement nice and slow, keeping your movements fluid, sensing and feeling into your body. Very nice. So from here, tipping over, straightening out your top leg, and then you can lie down onto your left shoulder. And then from here, take your right arm overhead, grab hold of your right elbow, and you can take your right foot to the floor and bend your left knee. And just create a nice stretch through your right side body as you put weight into your left side glutes. And from here, inhale, reaching, pulling the right arm with your left elbow, and then exhale, tuck, pull into your core. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more, guys. Inhale and exhale. Very nice. Slowly release both knees together now and gently roll back onto the back of your sacrum. And just take a moment here to reset as you lie on your roller. Feeling into both sides of your sacral area, both sides of your hips. In relation to your core, without tensing any muscles, just allowing gravity to pull your weight down onto your roller on the ground, and then just feeling your sense of buoyancy moving back into your core. Okay, so from here you can roll forward and come up onto your hands for a moment. So we have one more muscle that we're going to target in our class today, and that is the quadratus lumborum, or your QL muscle of your lower back. So what this muscle does is, when it's tight, it hikes your hip up. It's called a hip hike muscle, and that can create a lateral pelvic tilt through your pelvis, which we definitely don't want. Yeah. So we're going to, first of all, we'll just palpate it. So if you come to a seat and take your hands to the side of your waist, and then just take your hands back just a little bit to like the back of the side waist. And hopefully you'll feel a ridge of muscle here. Yeah, so for me it's just here. Yeah, so, or it should be for everyone, just here. Now if you've got very weak QLs, that ridge won't be as toned, so it'll be harder for you to feel it. But everyone should hopefully be able to feel the lateral border of their QL. So we're going to target that part here. So let's start, before we do that, we'll just start with a general glide. So you can come up onto your elbows, tuck your pelvis. So start with the roller underneath your hips once again. Tuck your pelvis, come into your core, and then just roll. But keep your lower back long. So you definitely don't want to arch your back, and you don't want to release your core. So keep your front ribs knitting in, and just come from a general glide of your lower back. For some of you, you'll feel that your QL muscles here on one side are a little bit more tender than the other, yeah, and this will probably be the side that you will need to release a little bit more if that is the case. So I'm going to start here over on the left side, so you can just roll onto your bum, so come up in your hands, so you don't have to do that, so you don't have to arch into your lower back, and then just tip your knees over, so they're just a little bit off the ground, yeah, so if they were on the ground, we would be on the side of the waist. You just want to tip, stay on this. It is a lower back muscle. It's not a side waist muscle, yeah? But so where you can feel it there when your knees are on a side tip. And then we're going to work with a shear. So just, you can tip over to the side waist a little bit more and then back up. Yeah, so here you're going to work here on that lateral border of your QL. Good. And then from here, we have another shearing movement. So as you know, it's the hip hike. So if you take your right hand to your right hip, and then hike your right hip up, and your left hip will lengthen down as you do that. And then change sides. Hike your left hip up, and lengthen your right hip away from your right shoulder. And we'll do a few of these actions. Nice, guys. Slowly tip to the center and then side tip over to the right, staying on your back. Left hand to your waist, pull into your core, or onto your left hip and pull into your core. And then from here, just tipping the knees down and back, down and back. So just releasing any stuck stress through the lateral border of the right QL now. Good. And then from here, you can go into a hip hike action to create your shear. So hike your left hip up, lengthen your right hip down, and then change directions. Nice, guys. And then come back onto your bum. Okay, so here we're going to just do the neck. And so lie on your back. And the reason we're going to work a little bit with the neck is because the neck and the sacrum are connected, yeah, through the arches and domes of the spine. So if you take your roller just above the hairline and look up, and then exhale, bow your chin down into your chest. Inhale, look up, and exhale, bow it down. Inhale up, exhale, bowing down. Inhale up, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Great, so tip over onto your left hip now and come to the left occipital ridge here and still just over the hairline. And just make little circles. And then move over to your right hip. And making little circles again. Nice. And then from there, you can come onto your back and take your roller away. Great. So lying down, and we'll finish today with a body scan. Sense and feel into your body. And take your awareness down into your feet. Notice if your feet are turning out to the corners of the room. Notice if the weight on the back of the calves is even. Notice if the weight on the back of the thighs is grounded down onto your mat and is even from side to side. Notice if the weight is fallen on your tailbone or if it's evenly weighted onto both buttocks. Notice if the arch in the lower back is even below and above the navel. Notice if the base of your ribs is earthed down onto the ground. Notice if your shoulders feel heavy on the earth or if they're light enough to create more space through the arch on the back of the neck. Notice if the weight of your arms feel weighted from right to left. Notice if the weight on your head is behind the bridge of your nose. And then bring your attention to the right and left side of your body. Drawing a line down the center. And noticing if your weight feels evenly distributed from right to left, and how your autopilot is doing in relation to your feeling of being centered today in your body. Feel free to stay here longer if you wish and rest, or if you feel ready, you can hug your knees into your chest. And gently make your way to a seat.